Danny Flexent here for SecondsOut. I'd like to be joined by top trainer manager Shane McGuigan, holding a cuppa which probably contains vodka, but we're going to say coffee.
Yeah, it's coffee.
It seems like why you're so hyped up, I guess. Big show, obviously, on Saturday night. You've got Ellie Scotney on the bill, taking the latest step in her professional journey. How do you size up that fight? WBA international title, I believe.
Yeah, fighting a former world champion, albeit at super flyweight. So she gave a good account of herself against Rachel Ball as well. So it's not an easy fight. She's quite elusive, got good head movement, and I think she had a lot. She only had 3 days' notice for the Rachel Ball fight, and I think she's had about 3 or 4 weeks' notice for this one. So these girls always keep themselves in shape and always fit and stuff. So I reckon, so it'll be definitely a tough fight, but one that I believe she can win, Ellie, for sure.
How much of an advantage is it for both girls that Caroline and Ellie, both top class amateurs, now training in the same gym?
It's definitely an advantage to get a chance to spar each other, bring each other on. Their training's a little bit different because they're boxing 2-minute rounds, not 3-minute rounds. It's a little more high tempo. So the way I schedule it is I schedule the two of them most of the time training. Their training overlaps, so they both get a chance to see each other in the gym every day. So, but no, it's not just that. It's also being in a gym full of other good fighters and hanging around winners. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's gonna really benefit the both of them.
What do you make of the whole debate over the duration of the rounds? 10 threes or 12 threes as opposed to 10 twos?
12 threes is a bit much. I mean, you wouldn't say, look, there's 110 metre hurdles for guys and there's 100 metre hurdles for girls. The problem is there's records and there's times. That's a time sport. Something like boxing isn't a time sport. It's just a winner and a loser. So I don't think it would change. I think if they were going to start, they should start world title fights at 8 threes and then maybe push them to 10 threes. But a lot of the girls will say, well, why can't we just do the 10 threes or the 12 threes? But that's been a ruling for a long period of time. It's hard to just override it, and it's a completely different sport. 10 2-minute rounds and 12 threes is just a completely different sport. So 36 minutes of rest with 36 minutes of boxing with 11 minutes of rest, or it's 20 with 11 minutes of rest. It's a lot. There's a lot of change there. So it would be interesting to see which fighters prevail, because it won't suit the high tempo ones. If you look at someone like Katie Taylor, she's just nailed that system down. She boxed at 4-2. She never went to the 3 threes before the. Exactly. She was always in the 4-2s, and then she changed into the 10-2s. Whereas someone like Caroline was boxing 3 threes, and now she's gone to 6-2s in her debut. So it's a big difference. The pace is. It's a little bit more frantic, and as you see, she in her fight, even though she looked good, she was rushing her work because she knows she's fighting the clock, not just the opponent. So it would be interesting to see how people, which ones succeed. Someone like Serrano, I believe it will really suit her. Someone like Katie Taylor, I don't think it will. She'll have to really change her style, be a lot more clever with her output. And someone that's 35, 36 years of age, she's ingrained so much into that pattern. I'm not sure it will suit her as much. So with Ellie's a nutritional fighter. The 3-minute rounds would definitely would suit her. So but she's 23 years of age. Caroline's 21 years of age. If it does change, they'll be the ones that go with that change.
Now you've got the Azims both out next week on the Khan Brook card. Lawrence Okolie at the end of the month. And Fowler, incredibly busy at the moment. Do you prefer it that way?
It's nice, yeah. It's good. I mean, weekends are always occupied by travel, but this is what we train to do. We train for these occasions to come here and for the fighters to get their attention, and they get a chance to go and showcase their skills. So you can't complain. It was only 2 years ago when we were training all the time, and there was no fight dates with lockdown, and everyone was starved of events. So it's great for us.
When might we see Daniel Dubois next out? I know they're in negotiations with Trevor Bryan. Have you been given any indication of when that might take place?
Yeah, I think it might take place on the undercard of Fury versus Whyte. Martin Bowers and Frank Warren are constantly informing us on where the fight's going to be, whether it's going to take place in a big stadium fight and stuff. But most likely it will be in the UK, and most likely mid to end of April.
You mentioned Fury Whyte there. We often ask you your opinion on upcoming fights. You're, master strategist, if you like. How do you see Whyte having his best chance to win in that fight? If you were cornering him, what would your advice be?
Well, he's not going to beat him at range, is he? He's going to have to make sure he stipulates to get the smallest ring possible. You can only have an 18-foot ring in a world title fight, but an 18-foot ring for a guy that's 6'9" and 6'4", whatever, 6'5" is a very small ring. So, if it was down to me, I'd say try and get the smallest ring possible. Fury's going to want the biggest one. Make sure that he doesn't get dragged into the mind games. Make sure that he has, Dillian's he's a winner. He's got that mentality. He's not the most skilled. He's not the best technical boxer, but he's doggedly determined, and he comes to fight all the time, and he has no respect. And that's what you need for someone like Tyson Fury. You can't let him get into your mindset. You can't give him too much respect, because he's just a man at the end of the day, albeit 6'9" and a bloody good one. Good fighter. But if he has any chance of winning, he's going to have to stick it on him, work the body, and set a pace that and cut the ring off and set a pace that is uncomfortable for Fury. But I don't think he's going to win. I think he'll give a good account of himself. He's a decent puncher. Fury's been dropped by lesser punchers like Steve Cunningham. He got dropped twice in his last fight. It's not like he can't go over. The problem is when he gets up, he changes and he adapts, and that's down to the innate ability that Tyson Fury's got. He's a born fighter. He can adapt on the job, and I think that will, as the rounds go on, that will be the telling factor.
And just before I let you go, we're still waiting to hear exactly what Anthony Joshua's future plans are regarding training and the gym and stuff. Whoever he picks, what do they need to be like? What do they need to give him?
It's what he needs to give them. He needs to give them respect, and that's not saying that he's disrespectful, because he's an extremely respectful guy. But he needs to give the person the respect to do their job and trust them. And if he does that, and he believes in himself, he can genuinely beat anybody in the world. It's just down to him, and it doesn't matter. There's always going to be a great trainer out there. If it's somebody, there's somebody else. It's like people in my gym. I know that they could be looking over their shoulder and thinking, oh, this guy's good at this and that. But it's just down to the trainer has to have the self-belief, right? And the fight has to give the trainer ultimate respect and let him do his job properly and let him take control. And if he does that and doesn't think about it like a business, he always talks about his boxing as a business, and it is a business. But you won't get a great trainer without having to ship out some money. But he's made his money, and he should employ the person that's right for the job, and they're going to want decent money, and just say, do you know what? From now on in, it's me maximising myself, and if he does that, then he'll get the results, I believe.
Brilliant, Shane. Really appreciate your time.